In 2009, the South Umpqua School District created the Facility Advisory Committee, made up of school board members, employees from the district, and members from the community. The committee was asked to evaluate the facilities in the district and make recommendations for their repair or replacement. Architects, engineers, and other experts were hired to evaluate the district facilities. Their job was to come up with a facility master plan that would create a safe, efficient learning environment for the children in a district where 2/3 of the buildings are 68 years old on average. The result? The Facility Master Plan, a 1-inch thick document filled with millions of dollars in upgrades, project improvements, consolidations, and updates. Fast forward 5 years. The South Umpqua School District has a small annual maintenance budget that's already far too small to keep up with existing maintenance needs. This has prevented the district from being able to address the sheer volume of recommendations in that master plan. The South Umpqua School District faces an unwinnable uphill battle against time.
I can't do $17 million in repairs on 19 buildings and 5 campuses at a $500,000 a year pace, because you're always just going to fall further and further and further behind. At some point in time, you've got to reset the clock. You got to start fresh and go forward. We're at a point where we need to reset the clock and start going forward.
We've spent a lot of money in order to save money. And the problem with that is that these repairs, some of them are expected, but it's the unexpected ones that really leave us hanging. We end up with buildings that have to be closed for a time while emergency repairs are done. We've seen another school district who had a similar issue, and they ended up having their building condemned. That's not a situation we want to be in.
I think you need to be responsible with your money, but if you're constantly fixing a building, then how can we make choices for other things?
Every day, the children in the South Umpqua School District attend schools with leaky roofs, ancient fixtures, decaying walls and ceilings, overwhelmed electrical systems, asbestos floor tiles, and inadequate disability access. Faculty have carried on despite the difficult and potentially dangerous surroundings.
We can show you in every building where there have been leaks, multiple leaks. It's an old building. It actually, in my opinion, that building has outserved what it was intended to do. I don't believe it was built to last 80 years.
One of the best or worst examples of the state of South Umpqua schools is the gymnasium at Canyonville School. Nearly 150 children play here every day. The pillars, the seating, the size, and the ceiling tiles all present a danger. But the worst part of this building is the locker room.
Nobody wants to go down into a dark, creepy dungeon to go change their clothes for PE. You know, people need to be able to access a bright, pleasant place that doesn't smell. You can clean and keep clean. You don't have to worry about it being unusable for weeks at a time in the winter because it's got 3 inches of standing water on the floor. You know, we need an environment where kids can do what they're there to do, and that's learn.
Probably the greatest challenge the facilities at South Umpqua School District face is their overall safety. Intruders, fires, earthquakes all pose a danger in some shape or form on every campus throughout the district.
We have to decide what's worth it, you know? And so, yeah, I do come from a safety standpoint, and I'm not talking about just shooter situations. I'm talking about fire, I'm talking about earthquake, I'm talking about those kinds of things that can happen as well. And I think right now, the earthquake situation is probably predominant.
I would like to feel safer. The classroom that I'm in right now has a front door and a back door, and it's out on the wing. And so there are multiple points of entry, and parents could come, or visitors from the outside could come to either door without going through the main office and having checked in.
We try to make sure that we know who's on our campus at all times, but it doesn't always happen. And with a campus that has so many places to go, it's really difficult to guarantee the security of our students. We do fire drills, lockdown, earthquakes, but the lockdown is the hardest. And if we had a new building, which is being proposed, it would be a one building, which is much easier to lock down than all the other buildings all throughout our campus.
Someday, there's not going to be we should do this now because it's for the benefit of our kids and the safety of our kids. Someday it's going to be because we lost something that we didn't want to lose and we have to do it now. And that would be devastating to me.
We looked at those needs and made sure they were really needs and put that together into a package, stretched it out to 30 years. We have a great matching money opportunity that will increase the size of the pool of money we have to work with and take care of some additional needs on our list. It's a great opportunity, and really when we look at the dollars and cents that have come through, it is affordable.
After reviewing the master plan and consulting with the Facility Advisory Committee, the South Umpqua School Board has approved a bond levy to construct a new K-8 facility in Canyonville at the old primary location on Alder Street, housing at least 14 classrooms, an office, library, multi-purpose room, cafeteria, gym, and locker rooms. A new elementary school in Myrtle Creek, adjacent to the existing Coffinberry Gymnasium, housing at least 18 classrooms, an office, library, multi-purpose room, and cafeteria. A new middle school adjacent to the high school, with at least 13 classrooms, an office, gym, and locker rooms. And a new library building adjacent to the high school for use by the new middle school and high school. The existing high school library would then be remodeled and turned into 5 computer labs. Total cost of the new construction, based on August 2015 estimates, is $44.4 million. The board is looking to put the bond on the May 2016 ballot. The estimated levy rate as of July 27, 2015 is $2.92 per $1,000 assessed value.
I was one of those board members who kept saying that's too high a tax rate, that's too big a project. But ultimately what sold me was that we were able to put together a plan that carried us beyond 30 years. That's amazing. When we can think about putting together a plan, it's really pretty affordable. Not for every person, I realize, but for the majority of our community members, very affordable, make a big impression, and take care of the needs long term. That's amazing when we can put together a plan like that. And that's what really brought the board together.
Passing the bond levy would make the district eligible for $4 million in matching funds from the state. Those dollars would go to projects such as a new multi-purpose room at Tri-City Elementary School, joining the main and annex buildings, and a new roof at South Umpqua High School. And both locations would receive upgrades, such as campus security improvements, remodeled restrooms, asbestos abatement, upgrades of the plumbing, electrical, and HVAC systems, and new paint.
We had to make a decision. Do we buy down the cost of the bond, or do we look at those other needs? We looked at it. We looked at it very seriously. Buying down the bond was very attractive, except that when we look at the final numbers, it was a pretty small impact. And the fact is, we had a situation where we were going to build 3 new buildings, and we had 2 buildings that still had some serious needs. So we made the tough decision and decided we would go ahead and use that money to invest in those buildings so that all 5 buildings would see improvement from this bond.
Between building the 3 new schools and taking the matching money and using it on South Umpqua High School and Tri-City Elementary, we will complete everything in that 1-inch master plan. And we will be brought up to where we needed to be in their 10-year timeline. So they had the stuff that needed done immediately, the stuff that needed done in 5 years, and the stuff that needed done within 10. By passing this bond levy and by getting the state matching money, we'll do everything in that master plan, and we'll be back on track from a maintenance perspective.
One thing that we've talked about is that with these aging buildings, we're using money from our operating budget to repair. And so that's money that could be going to teaching salaries, that's money that could be going to hiring additional personnel, that's money that can be going to programs for the students, for supplies, for textbooks and curriculum. So if we have to replace a roof, or if we have a water leak or something major, that's all money that's coming out of our overall budget.
This gets us safe campuses for all 5 schools. Not perfect, because I don't think any campus can be, but the improvement is at least 1,000% over what we have now. And that's really the backbone of this plan. Second to that, I think, is the efficiency stuff. We're in buildings that are 50 to 80 some years old, and you can't be efficient with buildings like that. You're always sticking a finger in another crack in the dam. At some point in time, you just got to replace the dam. And then finally, the educational experience. We have to give these kids a 21st century education, and we're trying to do it in almost 19th century buildings. We've got to get these kids in classrooms that represent today's times, today's technology, and the education of the future.
In those days, they were thinking, hey, if we get 50 years, we're going to be good here. We've got 80. I think we've done well.
Students are our most precious resource, and we've got them in old buildings that aren't as safe, they're not as efficient for electricity, heat, and all that, and they're not as educationally sound for kids to learn how to collaborate, work with digital items, use the new technology. It's not set up for that. We need schools that are safe, efficient, and set up for technology. Our kids deserve the best in this district because, as I started when I said this, they're our most precious resource.
It's a breaking point, and I really feel strongly that if we put this off, that we are putting ourselves in a position where it's going to cost us more than money to fix.
The mission of this facility plan and the purpose of the bond levy coming to voters in May is to increase student safety on all campuses, expand learning opportunities to improve the educational experience for all students, and create efficiencies and economic savings in building operations. There is much more information available online at susd.k12.or.us. Questions can be answered by contacting any board member, Superintendent Jim Howard, or Director of Fiscal Services, Chris Davidson.
We need safer, smarter schools.
Safer.
Smarter schools.
We need safer, smarter schools.
We need safer, smarter schools in the South Umpqua School District.